Today I'm going to show you how to make a macrame basket just like this one. You can find a complete list of materials needed in the description below. So first I'm going to start with this base here, and I am going to be weaving in these holes because the holes are a little bit bigger than the cord I'm using, and I want to make sure that I fill in those gaps. So to measure the cord, I'm going to take it and go around the base once like this. And then I'm going to measure that a total of 3 times just by folding over. And I like to leave a little extra at the end for weaving in the ends. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the end of the cord through my darning needle here. Then I'm going to take the other end, and I'm just going to put it through one of the holes of the basket base here. And I'm going to leave an end about maybe 8 inches or so because I want to make sure I have enough to weave it in when we're finished. So I'm going to be working from the top of the basket here, and you can see where the cord is coming out of this hole right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip the next hole, and then I'm going to be putting my darning needle through the following hole and pull it all the way through. And now from the back of the base, I'm going to take my needle to the hole on the left and insert it through, and then pull that cord. Okay, so now again, I'm going to skip this hole right here, and I'm going to put my needle through the next hole and bring it through. And again, from the back of the base, go through the hole on the left and bring it through. And again here, skip the next hole and put it through the following one. Now I'll turn the base over here so that way you can see what I'm doing from behind. And so I'm going through this hole here to the left and just pulling it through. Okay, so now I'm just going to keep on going around doing the same thing that we've been doing all the way around these holes here. And then when we get back to the beginning here, I will show you how we're going to finish it. Okay, so now I'm back to the beginning. And so what I'm going to do is just like what we were doing before, I'm going to put the darning needle through this hole here and bring it up on the other side, the one on the left. And now I'm going to skip that hole, and I'm going to go in this hole right here. Okay, so, and this is called the sumac weave. You can see the kind of twisted pattern that it makes here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to weave the ends in. I'm going to weave them in on the top of the base because I don't want to do it on the underside of the base because then it'll make my basket just sit all off, just uneven. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn my base over, and I'm going to put my darning needle through this hole right here. And I'm just going to be weaving the end in underneath these cords here on top. I'm just going to lift it up a little bit and go under. And again, I'm going to go under. And one more time. Just doing it about 3 times. We'll just keep it nice and secure. Now I'm going to grab a pair of scissors, and I'm just going to snip off the end. Okay. And now I'm going to turn my basket back over. I'm going to take the end of the other cord here, and I'm going to put it through the darning needle. And now I'm going to go through this hole right here, turn my base back over, And now I'm going to be going in the other direction. I don't want to go over the cord that I just wove in on the other side because it'll just be too thick. And even though we're weaving these ends in on the top part of the base of the basket, you're not going to be able to see it once we start building up the walls. Okay, and again, just snip off the end. Okay, so now we're ready to start adding the cord here. So I'm going to grab one of my pieces of cord and fold it in half nice and even. And I'm going to take the other side, and you can see it makes a loop here. So I'm going to take this loop side and I am going to put it through one of the holes here and make sure that we're working from the top of the base here. So pull it through. And so we have a little bit of that loop right here, and we're going to take it and we're going to bring it towards the center of the base. And then we're going to take those tails and we're going to pull it through the loop. And then we're going to just tighten it down. And that creates a lark's head knot. So now we're going to do it again. Fold it in half. Find the looped end. Insert that into the hole. Pull out a little bit of that loop. Bring it over and tighten it down. Okay, so now I'm going to be turning my base over and I'm going to be making my first square knot. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this spool of cord here because it's heavy and it'll weigh down my base so that way it doesn't move, and I can show you the knot here. So what I'm going to do, I have 4 cords and I'm going to take the outer cords out to the side a little bit, and that's going to leave the 2 cords in the middle here, which are my filler cords, which means they are not doing anything, just filling the space. So I'm going to take the left cord and bring it over. It basically is in the shape of a 4 here. Then I'm going to take that right cord and bring it over the end of the cord that crossed. And then this tail is going to go under the cords in the center. So I'm going to lift it up a little bit here, bring that tail under, and then it's going to go through this loop right here. And then I'm going to pull on the sides here and just kind of slide it up. So that's the first part of the square knot there, and just pull it nice and snug. And now I'm going to do it in the reverse order. So I'm going to take that right cord and bring it over the 2 in the center. It makes kind of like a P. Then take that left cord and bring it over the tail of the cord that came from the right. Now this tail is going to go underneath the cords in the middle and then through the loop. So now pull it through and then pull both sides of the cord and slide it up. So now we have our first square knot here. So now I'm going to do it again. So I'm going to turn my base back over and I'm going to grab another piece of cord here, fold it in half, put that looped side through another one of the holes, pull a little bit of the loop out, bring the ends through, and tighten it down. Now we're going to do it again. Bring that loop out, and then bring it over, pull the ends, and tighten it down. Okay, and I have a little bit of a end coming up there from that was woven in, but I can snip it and it'll be fine. So I'm going to turn the base over and again put my cord on the base there. And now I'm going to make another square knot here. So separate my cords here with the 2 in the middle. And now I'm going to take the left cord and cross that over, bring the right cord and cross that. Now this end is going to go underneath the cords in the middle, and then I will be pulling it through that loop there. And then pull the sides and secure the first part of the knot. Now again, with the right side of the cord, and then the left goes over that. Then the end of the left goes through that loop that we made on the right. Slide it up. And then I like to hold the cord with my ring finger and my pinky finger, so that way those filler cords don't slide up as I make my square knot. Okay, so we have our square knot made here, and I'm going to go around and I'm going to finish adding all of the cord and all of the square knots here, and then I will meet you back around and show you what the next step is. Okay, so I've added all of the cord and have made my first round of square knots, and this is looking down from the top of the basket here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to be turning my basket over. And I'm actually going to prop my basket up a little bit here, and I'm going to add this white sheet so that way you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. So with the next round, this is actually called an alternating square knot pattern, which means I am going to be making a square knot that is in between the two knots here from the previous row. So I'm just going to grab two from the right and two from the left, and I'll be going all the way around with this pattern. Okay, so for the first square knot here, same thing as we did before. I'm going to take that cord and bring it over. Then that cord on the right is going to go over, and then the tail is going to go under and through the loop and slide it up. Now I'm going to be really mindful about my tension here. I want to make sure that I don't go too tight like this, or else the walls of my basket are going to start caving in, and I definitely don't want that to happen. So I'm going to loosen it up here, and I'm going to be really mindful of that as I go around. And actually, this orange basket that I actually did do it a little too tight. I'm going to show you here how the sides do come in just a little bit because my tension was too tight. So back to the square knots here. I'm going to finish the bottom part of the square knot, again being super duper mindful of my tension. And now to the next square knot on the right here, again in between the two square knots from the top. So slide it up, but again, not too tight. In fact, it's going to be a little bit better if it's a little bit looser, trust me. And onto the next one here. Okay, and so now what I'm going to do is I am going to just continue with this pattern here all the way around, making those square knots in between each square knot from the previous row here, and then I will meet you back around and show you the next step. Okay, so I've finished the second row of square knots here, the alternating pattern. So now I'm just going to do it again. I'm going to do another round of alternating square knots. So I'm going to take the two cords from the left here from that knot, and the two cords on the right from that knot, and I'm going to be making another square knot in between those. And again, being super duper mindful of your tension. You want to make sure that you don't knot too tight, or else your basket will cave in, unless you like that look. And that's fine, then go a little bit tighter. But I'm going to keep my tension nice and loose because I want the walls of my basket to be nice and straight. Okay, and another square knot here. And I'll do one more. Okay, so now you can really see the pattern starting to come together here, what the alternating square knot pattern should really look like. And I'm going to be doing this all the way around, so another round here. And then I'm just going to go ahead and finish my basket making this pattern. I think you have the gist of it here. I'm probably going to do maybe 8 rows or so. And then I will come back around and show you what's next. We will be adding this metal hoop here. Okay, so I've made it all the way around and I've basically completed my basket, and I'm going to add the metal hoop. And I should mention that I did make 8 rounds of the alternating square knot pattern. If you do want to add another round or two, there's plenty of cord to do so. Just make sure you have enough cord to add the metal hoop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the basket on its side here, and I'm going to bring the hoop over on top of the square knots here. And you can start anywhere, but I'm going to start with this knot right here. And I'm going to take the first cord, and it's going to come from underneath, and I'm just going to bring it over and then pull it through. And now I'm going to take that same cord and I'm going to bring it over again. This time it's creating a loop here, and I'm going to bring it through the loop and secure nice and tight. And that basically makes a double half hitch knot. So now I'm going to take the next cord and I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to bring it over the hoop, pull it down, and again over the hoop and then through the loop, and nice and tight. Now I'm going to do it with the next 2 cords here, around through the loop, and again around and through the loop. One more time. Okay, so now I have all the square knots here, and I'm going to just take the sides here and I'm going to just smush the knots together. And you want to make sure that you do smush the knots together nice and tight, because you want to make sure that you have enough room on the hoop here to attach all of the cords from your basket. So I'm just going to be continuing with this process here of knotting around the hoop, and then I will meet you back. I've now completed attaching all of the cord to the metal hoop here, and you can see that with the looser tension, you can see how much straighter the side of my basket is right here compared to the previous one. So I highly, highly recommend that you are incredibly mindful of your tension when making your knots, so that way the walls of your basket are nice and straight. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim off the excess cord here. And I like to use these little embroidery scissors because they allow me to get nice and close to the knot. And I'm just going to snip off the ends here. And I'm just going to go all the way around. All right, and there we go. So our basket is finished. And I do want to say, if you are noticing that your basket is coming in a little bit, it might be because of the way that your knots are attached to the hoop. So for instance, if the top part is twisted up like this, then your basket might look like it's caving in. I'll show you to the side here. You can see that right there. So what I like to do is I like to take the knots on the top and just kind of twist them in. Just go around doing that. And you can make those adjustments to the knots in the hoop, and it'll help make your basket look straight. All right, well, thank you so very much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more tutorials.